Hey, hi there. I'm Dev Mitra, an AI enthusiast and a mentor for GMAT quantitative reasoning and data insights. I've had the privilege of helping students from across the globe achieve remarkable GMAT scores, whether it's breaking through plateaus or simply reaching for a high percentile. Today, I shall be speaking about official mocks, all that you ought to know if you're preparing for the GMAT in earnest. What are official mocks and where does one find them? On the GMSC website, mba.com, you will find two complimentary and four paid full-length mock tests. Each of these includes 64 questions across three sections, 21 in quant, 23 in verbal, and 20 in data insights. You'll have 45 minutes per section, and just as in the real test, you may choose the order in which to attempt them. An optional 10-minute break is also provided. So basically, these mocks are powered by the same scoring algorithm used in the actual GMAT. The structure, the interface, and adaptive logic, they're designed to faithfully replicate the real test experience. How many official mocks should you take and when? To begin with, you ought to take one mock before starting your formal preparation, not to judge your ability, but to help your brain become acquainted with the demand of the GMAT. That is, managing cognitive load, working within strict time limits, navigating uncertainty, and remaining mentally engaged for over 2 hours. So, this early exposure to the GMAT simulation helps identify your strengths and areas of development. It also allows you to set realistic expectations. For instance, you may be from a premier technical institution and assume a perfect quant score is inevitable. But soon you realize that the GMAT is as much about logic, reasoning, and mental stamina as it is about the math part of it. So recognizing this early helps you build towards your goal in measured, deliberate phases. Once you've studied the concepts, you've built your approaches, then you take another mock to assess your progress. The change that you observe in your score is the delta, and that reflects your learning and improvement. If you've already reached your target, just go ahead and book the test, book the GMAT. And in the final 3 weeks before the GMAT, take at least two additional mocks, which will help you fine tune your strategy, explore further score improvements, and will also help you establish a performance range. Once your score stabilizes, you must go ahead and schedule your test. Let's now answer one more question. Are the difficulty levels of free and these paid official mocks the same? The answer is yes. All official mocks are standardized and they're built upon the same algorithm. However, many students find that questions in mocks 1 and 2, the free ones which are there on MBA.com, they occasionally feel familiar. This may be because such questions are often shared online or they're circulated informally. And as a result, you may score higher on these than you would on mocks 3, 4, 5, and 6, which remain relatively unseen. It is therefore essential to be very, very mindful of the source of the GMAT questions that you practice. If these GMAT questions that you practice originate from official mocks, especially the focus edition, do resist the urge to solve them in isolation. Save them, don't waste the questions. Save them for a full-length mock experience. That way you don't get inflation of your GMAT mock test scores. So you're very aware of your GMAT prep level in real time. Let's now answer one more question. Is the difficulty of the GMAT similar to that of the official mocks? Indeed, yes. The official mocks mirror the GMAT in both structure and scoring. Typically, your real test score will fall usually within a plus minus 20-point range of your official mocks, provided they were taken under realistic test conditions. As I mentioned earlier, the GMAT permits a single 10-minute break between sections. So I'm just giving an example. If during your mock you take a 30-minute break instead of the 10-minute break, your brain will not respond to the test in the same way. Your score may be inflated as a result. And similarly, if you take a mock late at night, perhaps after a long day of work, but your actual test is scheduled for a morning slot, then your performance could also vary significantly. Mocks have to be treated with the same discipline as the real test so that you have accurate insights and you're aware of your actual level and preparedness for the GMAT. Let's now move forward to understand how many attempts are permitted on the official mocks and if the questions do repeat on them. Well, the two free mocks can be taken unlimited number of times. However, after two attempts, you may begin to see repeated questions, which can skew your results. For instance, if you attempt official mock 1, a third time, you're likely to recognize a few of the questions. There could be repeats. If this happens, try solving the question again, but just pause there for around 2 minutes before moving on to the next question. This will prevent you from gaining an unfair advantage due to prior familiarity or that extra additional time advantage to think for the next set of questions. On the other hand, Paid mocks, that is 3, 4, 5, and 6, can be attempted twice each and usually do not repeat questions. Next, what should you do after taking an official mock? This is important because if your score meets or exceeds your target GMAT score, go ahead, book the test. But if you fall short, don't be disheartened. Instead, examine your mock report section by section. So you analyze your timing, your accuracy, the concepts that tripped you up, approaches that you couldn't think of. Ask yourself which questions made you feel stuck, whether elements you got right but took too long to solve. And even if it's a correct question, ask yourself, could I have done this faster with a different approach? Was I efficient with the approach I took up on the test? And more than anything else, be pragmatic, be practical. I mean, if your first mock gives you a 535 and your goal is a 705, expecting this leap to a 705 from a 535 maybe in a fortnight, like in 2 weeks, that's unrealistic. What you do instead is aim for a 635 first. That's already like a 100-point jump. Achieve that. Then target is 675, then 705. The climb gets to be steeper and steeper. Every time you have crossed the 655, 665 mark, the climb gets steeper. The algorithm becomes even more sensitive to errors. So pace yourself wisely. Let's also look into how long should one wait between mocks. Now here's what I'm going to tell you. Many students, after receiving a low mock test score, what they do is they feel disheartened. They rush to take another mock within a day, within 2 days, sometime on the very same day, in the hope of redemption. But official mocks are rather like weighing scales. If you haven't made a change in your weight, you are not going to expect a different reading, right? And if you do receive a different reading, you must ask, was it a true reflection? Was it influenced by repeated questions? Any unnatural test conditions? I would say allow a gap of 10 to 15 days between mocks. This gives you the time to course correct meaningfully, and it allows any score increase to truly represent an improvement in your ability, right? So plan the official mocks carefully. Don't just waste the mocks. Take them when you know that you can showcase true progress in the prep, true progress in your skills. Let's also answer another question. Should you take unofficial mocks from other test prep brands? Yes, no problem there, but with a word of caution. If your objective is to assess your performance, where do I stand? Am I ready or not for the GMAT? Unofficial mocks are not suitable. That's because no test prep company can replicate GMS's adaptive algorithm or scoring model. That's the propriety of GMS. But on the other hand, if you simply wish to build test taking stamina, practice more questions, or just simulate a full test taking experience, it's fine to practice with trusted third party mocks. Choose those that are known to mirror the GMAT style and logic. Don't just pick up mocks at random because somebody forwarded you or because they're available for free. Let your preparation remain purposeful and very targeted. Here's where I'm going to take a pause and give you a few tips on GMAT official mocks. Tip number one, always and always complete your sections, even if it means blind guessing at the end, because the penalty for leaving questions unanswered is very, very harsh than that for incorrect responses. Complete every single section, quant, verbal, DI, you have to complete all of them. Okay? Tip number two, avoid back to back errors. The algorithm is less forgiving of 4 consecutive mistakes as compared to 4 mistakes spread across the test. Okay? So you have to be very strategic around your pacing in order to not have back to back errors. That's what is in your control. Tip number three, quant can be brutal. Even 2 or 3 errors on easier questions, which will drag your score down significantly. So use verbal, use data insights to lift your total score while still ensuring that quant is solid. Interestingly, many students find that mastering data insights that gives you better returns than pushing excessively on quant. So manage those areas strategically. Make sure that you are good with quant, but at the same time push on the test taking practice aggressively while you are away from few weeks, 2 3 weeks away from your GMAT. Tip number four, take a warm up before your mock. What I mean is about 30 to 60 minutes prior your mock or your actual GMAT also, solve 3 4 questions which you have already previously attempted, official questions. 3 4 from each section, 3 4 from quant, 3 4 from verbal, 3 4 from DI. This helps activate your GMAT mindsets and avoids the common mistake of spending, for example, 4 minutes on question number one just to get into the zone. Tip number five, stay alert to careless errors. Often it's not a lack of understanding, usually on the GMAT, but it's a lapse in attention to details that cost you your points. So don't rush with reading. Don't misclick on questions. You know that my answer is A, but you go ahead and mark B. That's disappointing, So avoid rushed reading. avoid misclicking, avoid misinterpreting data. These are all these small slips with heavy consequences. Just slow down. Slow reading, but impactful reading to stay accurate. Let's now move to the next question. How do you stay motivated after a disappointing mock? Well, if your score falls short of your target, do not allow frustration to take the reins. An official mock is it's not just one score. It is an experience of the actual GMAT. It simulates the actual GMAT, offering a rare and valuable rehearsal of what the real test will demand of you, mentally, emotionally, and strategically. What you also now have is data. It's insight into your performance, your thinking, your preparation gaps, and with all of this, you can make informed corrections and set your next practical score target. And I've seen many students plateau. Then they course correct, they break through with steady, focused effort. Now, on the other hand, if you have scored well, don't get too comfortable. Examine the report to ensure that there was no score inflation. If you choose to book the test, continue addressing any remaining weaknesses so that your real score it lies closer to mock, plus 20 rather than the minus 20. I hope you have got a fair understanding of official mocks with this video that we have shot. But let me also tell you something before we close this video. Official mocks from MBA.com, they are like mirrors. They will faithfully reflect where you stand on your prep and what you must do next. You use them wisely, with discipline, with curiosity. Treat each one of these mocks as a step closer to your final performance and let your preparation reflect ambition with focused intent. All right? I'll see you in one more new video.